All right. Again, good morning, everyone. I am going to turn the sound over to Ms. Iris Outlaw.
Good morning and welcome to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Eta Mu Omega Chapters Focus on Entrepreneurship Symposium. As stated, I am Iris Outlaw and I am one of the members of the Building Financial Literacy Committee and host for today's event. I want to provide you with a brief overview of what we'll be experiencing for the next 2 hours, and it should be very exciting. We'll have a welcome from our Vice President, Ms. Karen Cross, who will offer greetings from our chapter, and she'll be followed by Ms. Jaquise Black, who is the co-chair for today's event and of this committee. She will introduce our keynote speaker. She will then be followed by Ms. Jacqueline Walker Sims, who will introduce our second presenter. So if you have any questions throughout this event, please place them in the chat, which will be monitored, and we will then answer the questions at the end of the event. Or you can feel free to, when we open up for Q&A, to ask your question at that time. So at this moment, I will now turn the program over to Ms. Karen Cross, our Vice President.
Happy mid-morning, and thank you, my sister Iris, for your introduction. On behalf of our president, Dr. Brianna Allen, myself, and the Eta Mu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, I bring you greetings. As meaningful programs are the heart of our sorority, we appreciate each individual's presence today, and we are excited about gleaning from the sharing of experiences, expertise, and giftedness. So without further ado, to our guest speakers today, we are honored and eager to hear from you. We want to let the Focus on Entrepreneurship 360 Degrees of Success workshop roll. So therefore, I will hand over the next segment of our agenda today to our co-chair, Jaquise Black.
Just a quick program change. I am Jacqueline Walker Sims. I'm also a co-chair of our, okay, I'm sorry, just reading the chat. I'm also one of the co-chairs of our committee that is putting on this event today. And I have the extreme pleasure of introducing our first speaker, Mr. Michael Patton, who is has agreed to share with us his business acumen. Just a little bit about Mr. Patton. He is the principal of Transitional Services Group and currently serves as the Diversity, Compliance, and Inclusion Officer for the city of South Bend, Indiana. He is, in the past, has been the past president of the South Bend branch of the NAACP, and also served as a past president CEO of the Urban League of South Bend. He received his undergraduate degree in organizational management from Bethel University and graduated from the University of Notre Dame with an executive Master of Nonprofit Administration degree. He is the ordained, affirmed apostle who founded and currently serves as the senior pastor of Kingdom Life Christian Cathedral, located in South Bend. Most recently, he authored and published his first book titled Reconnecting with Divine Grace, which is a book of 365 days of Meditations. It's my pleasure this time to turn the mic over to Mr. Patton. Thank you. Mr. Patton, you're still on mute.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for the introduction. I'm honored to join the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority on today and this chapter. Greetings to President Dr. Allen and as well the rest of the chapter leadership and all of the members of this chapter and guests, distinguished guests that have joined us on this morning. I'm excited to be a part of this gathering and to talk about the information and experiences that I've had regarding entrepreneurship. And we are focusing on entrepreneurship and 360 degrees of success. And I believe in entrepreneurship. I preach it. I teach entrepreneurship to the members of our ministry, and many of the people who are part of our ministry have become successful business owners. And so it is certainly a pleasure to be able to speak to each of you regarding entrepreneurship and what I believe in and what I am a part of myself, leading nonprofits and as well for-profit companies, and not only those that I have established, but those, as Jacqueline has made mention of, were affiliates of organizations that I was able to lead. And so entrepreneurship can make you a millionaire. And I like to make that emphasis because I certainly went into business to make money and to become wealthy. And I believe anyone who has gone into entrepreneurship is there for the same reason. And so God certainly created the opportunity. And I believe that those of us that have the spirit of entrepreneurship on us should take advantage of the opportunity at the same time. I'll bring my presentation up here. Looks like just a moment. Lost it. Okay. Come back. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
you can.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And you still can see it.
Yes.
All right, wonderful. So today, as it has been already shared, we're going to focus on entrepreneurship and the 360 degrees of success. And so I have the arduous task of sharing with those of you that are entrepreneurs, and then there are those of you that have joined us on this morning who are aspiring to become entrepreneurs. My hope is that this will impact each of you in a personal way and as well address maybe questions or concerns or inform you around entrepreneurship, that you are successful at what you set out to do regarding entrepreneurship. As already has been shared, a little bit of information regarding myself. I think what's more important for you to know is that I'm a business owner myself. And so I've had experiences in the nonprofit world and in the for-profit world. And currently I have a number of businesses that I'm running. As you can see, just a few of them are listed here, but Transitional Services, as Jacqueline has made mention, I'm the president and CEO of, and that was a business I created through my MBA program or through the M&A program that I completed at the University of Notre Dame. I had sights to helping veterans, military personnel. I'm an ex or a veteran of the Air Force, and I created this business while I was in school. And it has certainly expanded itself now to include not only assisting companies with veteran personnel and hiring and those kind of components, but also it allows me to do D&I, diversity and equity and inclusion, provide services to companies such as Penn Harris Madison School Corporation, just around the corner from where I live, and providing services to them and other companies that have brought me in to do trainings and to provide information and wisdom to the transition that those companies are making around diversity. Also, I'm the co-founder of Kingdom Life Christian Cathedral, which is a nonprofit company. Transitional Services is a for-profit company. And my wife was a co-founder with me there at Kingdom Life. We also have a community development corporation. We're currently building homes on the northwest side of our community here in South Bend. That is a nonprofit organization that my wife is leading. Currently, I founded that not-for-profit. And then, of course, that as well, I'm beginning the process of writing books. I wrote my first one a few years ago, Reconnecting with Divine Grace. And recently I was selected a few months ago to join the George Floyd Foundation Board of Advisors. And I'm excited to be a part of that. And what it stands for, I certainly support. So I've been on that board for probably 4 or 5 months now, and I'm looking forward to the work that we will be able to do while I participate at that board level. So today, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about. Again, entrepreneurship. That's why you've invited me here, and I'm so honored to join this distinguished group of ladies and participants of this morning's gathering. We'll talk about what is entrepreneurship. We'll look at the first African-American women in business. I think certainly that's important to take note of. We'll look at other notable African-American women in business. And then we'll talk about, are you an entrepreneur? I certainly had to find that for myself. I come from a family of entrepreneurs from Tennessee, Kentucky, and all throughout the South, and found that certainly that spirit and as well gift was within me. We'll look at some statistics and African-American women in business. And then I like talking about blueprint, and so I thought it was appropriate to certainly insert it here to look at the blueprint of entrepreneurship. We'll look at some components. This is not the end all. This is just a few things that I'd like to talk to you all about in regards to the blueprint of entrepreneurship. And then as well, we'll look at some what resources are available to you from a local standpoint and maybe as well a national standpoint. We'll talk about MBE and WBE certification, that's Minority Business Enterprises, Women Business Enterprise certification. And then we'll talk about setting short and long-term goals. What is entrepreneurship? What is entrepreneurship? The act of setting up a business or businesses while building and scaling it to generate a profit. So as I said earlier, that anyone that has started a business, they went into it to profit. And there is a misconception regarding nonprofit organizations in that those businesses, sometimes we've been told in error that you can't profit with a nonprofit, but you can. There are certainly laws in place and restrictions to how you profit, but as long as you maintain, and stay within the boundaries of those laws and those restrictive restrictions, you are fine with a nonprofit prospering and profiting similar to a for-profit. And so certainly it's important to understand businesses are created to generate profit. The first African-American woman in business, many of you have used her product, maybe used as well the pressing comb. If you go back as far as I do, I remember my grandmother, my mother, my sister, and the likes, and others, certainly in the neighborhood where they used to use the hot comb. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. Madam C.J. Walker, who was born in 1867 and lived until 1919, was the first Black woman millionaire. Again, here's a business owner who started a business and became a millionaire because of entrepreneurship. And she was a millionaire and a Black woman that was successful in America and made her fortune thanks to her homemade line of hair care products for Black women. Born Sarah Breedlove to parents who had been enslaved, she was inspired to create hair products after an experience with hair loss, which, let me stick a pin in there, she found a problem. And that problem, she began to create her business out of a problem that she wanted to bring a solution to and provide answers around at the same time regarding African American women. And so with that, she provided those products that we make mention of here. She led a creation called the Walker System of Hair Care. Madam Walker headquartered her business eventually in Indianapolis, Indiana. That was something new to me. I'm not sure about to each of you, but she certainly down the road here found herself in Indianapolis and headquartered the business there. Some facts about Madam C.J. Walker. She suffered from a scalp disorder, which led her to invent her own pomade and use hot combs. She turned her innovative idea into $1 million company. She hired and trained up to 40,000 Walker agents, she called them, to expand her ideas to other women throughout the country. She founded hair culture colleges through already established Black institutions and even taught women the ropes of business and budgeting. And one of her famous quotes says, "I had to make my own living and my own opportunity, but I made it. Don't sit down and wait for the opportunities to come. Get up and make them." And so I certainly agree with the quote, and it's something I began to use even in my own life on a daily basis to encourage myself regarding business and other opportunities. Well, here's someone very familiar to all of us, and this is certainly the first Black female billionaire, Oprah Winfrey. Class Act. Another woman in business, again, business created financial opportunity for her to become the first Black billionaire. Again, entrepreneurship did this. She's a talk show host, actress, philanthropist, businesswoman, and overall queen of media, is ranked most successful African-American philanthropist in American history, despite her rough childhood. So no matter where you start, despite her rough childhood, living in poverty and suffering abuse, Oprah was able to revolutionize daytime TV and create her own empire. Some facts about Oprah Winfrey. Her wit and charm landed her a win in an oratory contest in high school and full scholarship to an HBCU, Tennessee State University, where she studied communications. She got her start at a local Black radio station, WVOL, which hired her as a part-time news anchor while she was still in high school. She's working in a local media. She was both the youngest news anchor and first Black female news anchor at Nashville's WLAC TV. One of her famous quotes is challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them, just find a new way to stand. One of my favorites, Cathy Hughes, I got a chance to meet her while living in Washington, D.C. She was the first Black woman to have a talk, to take a company public. Cathy Hughes, the ultimate media mogul, went from teen mom, founding one of the biggest media companies in the world. And while living in Washington, I had a chance every day to go past her radio station on my way home, back into Maryland, working in Washington, D.C., and just a little small dinky radio station. You thought nothing of it. But, you know, Cathy Hughes certainly has always been huge, certainly in the media industry. Cathy, some facts about Cathy here. She is a TV personality and founder of Radio One, which studies includes 56 radio stations in the United States and the premier cable network TV One. She also holds the title of the first African-American woman to chair a publicly held corporation and continues her family's work and legacy at the Piney Woods School. She is a champion for the hungry and homeless, a mentor to countless women, and an advocate dedicated to empowering minority communities. A quote from Cathy Hughes: "Don't let anyone convince you that your dream, your vision to be an entrepreneur is something that you shouldn't do." And so many times I have had people tell me that I was not meant to be an entrepreneur. And the devil is a lie. As you can see, I have been able to establish many companies, for-profits and nonprofits, even though others may have said that wasn't for me. And the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, Ursula Burns. Burns' story is a true rags to riches tale. She was raised in the tumble public housing projects in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and eventually found her way to the top of Xerox. Ursula, some facts about her. She started by publicly disagreeing with a company vice president and challenging his ideas, all as an intern. Wow. The risky move would later pay off and move her into an executive assistant role that led to a position as chairwoman of the Fortune 500 paper company, Xerox. Her best piece of advice: use your disadvantages to your advantage. Burns was poor, Black, and a woman, but found she could use the latter two categories to her advantage. A quote from Ursula, and she says, "Dreams do not come true, but not without the help of others." Or dreams do come true, but not without the help of others. A good education, a strong work ethic, and the courage to lean in. And then last but not least, and certainly as I've talked about more seasoned women, here is a young lady who is 8 years old from our own community, South Bend, Indiana, who started a business herself, of course, with the help of her parents. And she is currently a business owner here with a business called And Me. You may know this young lady or have some insight on this young lady as she has started this business, and she participated in our Launchpad opportunity last summer that the Office of Diversity and Inclusion held out at the Charles Black Center. And She was selling products like brightly colored plastic ashtrays and candle holders, along with her own chapstick, lip scrub, and lip gloss. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that no matter the age, you can become an entrepreneur. Now, of course, anyone that is 18 and under has to have the support of their parents or of an adult who will support the business and place their name on the business along with the child, just because the laws dictate that kind of scenario, and making sure there's someone there that is an adult to support someone of this age. And so certainly opportunity and entrepreneurship has no age limit. Are you an entrepreneur? That's the question of the day, right? Based upon the following signs, you may be the next African-American female entrepreneur. Are you a self-starter? Is passion prevalent in your life? Do you possess people skills? Are you not willing to take no for an answer? Are you a creative thinker? And as well, do you have a competitive nature? Are you a hard worker? If any of those characteristics that I have made mention of fit you, then you are probably ready to become an entrepreneur. Let's look at some statistics here as we talk about African-American women in business. All right. 17% of Black women are in the process of starting or running new business. That's compared to just 10% of white women and 15% of white men. 3% of Black women are running mature businesses. When we talk about mature businesses, those are businesses that are experienced. They have created margins to make their businesses what we would consider to be comfortable businesses that are making and creating wealth for themselves. They have staff and those kind of things. And then 61% of Black women entrepreneurs start business in either retail, wholesale, or the health, education, and government or social services sectors, compared to 47% of white women and 32% of white men. Now, important to stick a pin in here as we talk about becoming an entrepreneur. As you can see, in most cases, we find that 61% of Black women entrepreneurs start in retail, wholesale, health, education, government, or social services sectors, which says to us that in general, their margins are small. And these are businesses that are most difficult to start and run and to create wealth from. Many times the problems here that not only Black women run into, but even people of color who start these type of businesses will find that there is a delay in pay and from the companies that may utilize your services, and it may be anywhere from 60, 90 to 120 days before you receive a check from them. And so, it really puts a business behind and creates some challenges for those who really start businesses in the retail, health, education, government, and social services sectors. And I applaud the 61% of Black women who have certainly gone in that direction. There are other opportunities that certainly create greater margins. When we talk about manufacturing, when we talk about IT and the likes, that certainly can, as you have seen with Oprah and you have seen with other businesses and them becoming billionaires, it certainly creates opportunity as well in a quicker way to become wealthy. 61% of Black women self-fund their total startup capital. This is in, excuse me, my granddaughter just came in, and let me get my daughter to get her one moment. Jada, come and get her. I'm in a meeting.
Multitasking.
All right, I'm back. Thank you. Please forgive me for the slight interruption, but 61% of Black women self-fund their total startup capital. This is in spite of the fact that in our analysis of the GEM data, only 29% of Black women entrepreneurs live in household incomes over $75,000, compared to 52% of white men. I was able to extract this information from the Black Harvard Business Review, which was created May 11th, 2021. And so important to certainly have some discussion around as we talk about that 61% of Black women who have to self-fund their total startup capital, which says that in starting your business and becoming a venture capitalist and becoming an entrepreneur, you got to come out of your pockets. And for some reason, I've been hearing in the wind with many of the business owners that I have been working with and or in our community, people think that there is money out there to start businesses. And there are dollars out there in certain instances, but there is no tree, there is shaken with money waiting on us because we have ideas to start a business. And in most cases, in all cases, you're going to have to take money from your household to start a business, which is what I've had to do in any case, any scenario that I have certainly created a business around. And so, when we look at wanting to start a business, that's something that we have to consider as to whether we're really ready to step out, because there are not dollars out there in most cases for you to get started. Now, there are programs around the country that may give an opportunity for those types of scenarios, but getting started, you're going to have to fund your business and then find programs that might and or you may be awarded a grant or some types of financial assistance to get your business started or after you've gotten that business started as well. Now, of course, after March 16th, 2020, and the pandemic hit, certainly there were a lot of dollars that were created called PPP dollars and other types of grants. Even the city gave and distributed dollars in our community to entrepreneurs to support them, to help them through the pandemic. As you are aware, I'm sure those dollars have dissipated now, and we don't have that kind of scenario present. Many entrepreneurs who were African American, there are some misconceptions, and because I've had my hand in it and worked with Black female entrepreneurs and people of color in trying to help them find the PPP dollars out there, we were running into problems with those businesses who had not gotten their EIN number, who had not gotten their state registration, who did not have a business bank account. And some of those pieces that I'm making mention of were standards for applying for PPP dollars. And as I say that, many of those businesses were thought that they were businesses at that time. However, they did not follow through with everything. So not establishing the EIN number would knock them out from being able to be funded and being able to receive PPP dollars. And so it wasn't about the color of my skin. It was about I couldn't meet many times the criteria that was being asked for. I didn't have a business banking account. That has nothing to do with the color of my skin, though there is a myth out there that certainly that African Americans seem to not be able to get PPP dollars. Well, there were some reasons for that. I'm not saying that there were not some discriminatory practices out there. However, with those that we found ourselves working with, we found those kind of challenges when we were trying to get them PPP dollars as well. Let's look at the blueprint of entrepreneurship. Again, this is not an end-all list, but these are things that I felt was important for us to discuss as we talk about becoming an entrepreneur, or those of you that are existing businesses. These are some things that certainly I think you should consider. Certainly, if you want to start a business, you want to come up with an idea. As you saw with Madam C.J. Walker, she created her business because of a problem. And in most cases, businesses are started from that same impetus. And so it's important to find a business idea and then create your business. Secondly, you'll want to, and these aren't numbered in a way that, 1 through 10 is just conversation here of things that you certainly should look at and consider. Create a business name. If you're going to start a business, then certainly it needs a name and a brand. So that's important as you consider starting a business. That those of you all that have started, like myself, as you saw, I created a business called Transitional Services Group, LLC. Then you want to create a business plan. In every business that is started, there should be a business plan and a well thought out business with goals, strategy, marketing. Should be looking at innovation. You should definitely be looking at what the competition is out there, and as well performance. And how will you create a team, and who potentially would you like to bring on board? And then, of course, establishing goals, short-term, long-term, or whatever the case may be. Also, when you consider starting a business, you want to look at the business structure. There is the sole proprietorship, there's partnership, and there's a corporation, there's limited liability companies that you can utilize as a structure for your business. I certainly suggest that you hire an attorney or an accountant who can help you to make those decisions if you're not informed in regards to business structures. It's important that you do your due diligence around that. As you can see, some of the companies that I have started are limited liability companies. Some are just corporations and they're incorporated. And so it's based upon the situation I find myself in and how I want to structure that company to protect my personal assets and what I do every day. And so it's important, certainly, to have someone to help you and to hire someone to help you do and help you to make those decisions around business structure. And then as well, doing a marketing search is important. Also, as you think about entrepreneurship, market research of field and demographics of clientele, all of that is important as you look to begin a business venture, or again, if you're already existing, it's important for you to be doing homework around your field and demographics of clientele. Okay, looks like I'm frozen. Oh, there we go. Next, most important piece, as you heard me make mention, I was working during the pandemic with businesses who did not have an EIN number. And so it's important for you to file for your federal tax ID number, which is the EIN number. It's a simple process now. You can do it online versus the application that I used to have to do some years ago. You simply can go online, and here is the information regarding that. IRS.gov is where you can go to start that process if you're informed. If you're not, again, I suggest that you hire an attorney or an accountant who can help you with that process. And so all EIN applicants, whether it's mail, fax, or electronic, must disclose the name and taxpayer identification number, and Social Security number is listed there, the EIN number, and those things of the true principal officer, general partner, grantor, owner, or truster. This individual or entity, which the IRS will call the responsible party, controls, manages, or directs the applicant entity and the disposition of its funds and assets. Unless the applicant is a government entity, the responsible party must be an individual, neutral person, and not an entity. And so when you start a business, it's going to ask you for your information, your name, your Social Security number, address, and all of those kind of things. Some of that information is on this application. I'm so grateful that now it's simplified. And again, as I've made mention, you can go online and the application is there. It will lead you through a series of questions, but as well, prior to starting that, there is a help button if you would like to receive some help and information before you start that application process. That information is available to you. Indiana State Business Registration. Before you can get an EIN number in the state of Indiana, every state is different, but in this state in particular, you have to go to the Indiana State Business Registration first before you can go to irs.gov to get and obtain a EIN number. And so here's the first stop for you. If you're interested in starting a business, you must go to InBiz, which is Indiana's one-stop source for your business. And they have a simple online application that you can fill out, and they will lead you through the series of questions to finalize that registration. Once you have finalized the registration, you then will see and be shared with that you've had a successful application. You then can go out to the irs.gov site and immediately file for your EIN number. Normally that takes me somewhere around 20, 25 minutes to do both the state registration and the EIN number. And so it doesn't take a lot of time. And usually the cost between the two will run you somewhere $75 to $100 ballpark figure. And so this is important to those of you all that live in Indiana to understand that here's where you go first to register your business in the state of Indiana, and then on to the irs.gov site to receive your EIN number. Again, as well with the EIN number, you can receive your EIN number while you're online after the application has been submitted and it is successful. You will receive, if you request that, an EIN number at the time that you submit your application. And then they will mail it out to you if you choose that down the road, but you can receive the paperwork while you're online applying for the EIN number at the same time. Business banks accounts. Many times I've worked with businesses who did not have a business bank account. They were working through their personal account. That's a no-no. If something were to occur where IRS wanted to ask questions regarding your personal life and wealth, you would have your business intertwined with your personal self, which could lead to some troubling times and challenging times. And so you want to separate your personal monies from your business wealth that you are obtaining from the business. And so it's important to open a business bank account. I am an ex-banker, and so I understand this clearly as to what needs to happen and the importance of it as well. When we talk about having a business bank account, you simply would enter into a bank or a credit union. And I suggest both. I use both. I shop first. Many of you women love to shop. My mother loves to shop, and so I guess I got that from her. But I'll shop a bank first or a credit union to find out who gives me the best bang for my buck, because not every bank does, especially based upon the type of business that I've started. It's important for me to go out and then shop the financial institution opportunities that are out there to make sure that I find a bank that fits the type of business that I've created. And so in all cases, you're going to have to bring some documentation. I suggest, because every bank or financial institution or credit union is going to ask for different documents, that you call them first. Most times that information is not listed online. And so it's a simple phone call to a branch or to a department within the bank that can share with you what documents you're going to need to bring in order to open up a business banking account. Once you've opened up the business banking account, if you can handle utilizing a debit card, then certainly now we have those kind of opportunities, which we didn't have in the past. I certainly suggest you do online banking, only because I can go at 3 o'clock in the morning and look at what's happening, and look at statements and draw them down if I'd like, without ever having to step into a banking center itself physically. And so online banking doesn't cost you anything. It is a convenience. And I believe that every business owner should utilize this for the convenience of that. And then, of course, it provides you electronic statements, which many times we find it's challenging for business owners to certainly draw those statements that they've been getting in the mail if they've not been organized and not kept them in a place where they can quickly get to them. If it's online, then all of that information is there, and at a click of a button, you can as well pull down the electronic statements that you would desire. What resources are available to me? So there's a number of resources in our community. This is not an end-all list. These are some certainly resources that are in our community. There are certainly more than what I could be able to share with you within the hour that I have. But one of them would be the Spark program. And as you can see, there's some information regarding the Spark 2022 classes that are going to be held in person, yay, or virtually. So you have the option of a hybrid situation there. But in the fall of 2021, they intended to conduct the Spark 2022 program virtually and possibly add in a person option for the local participant. So it's a 13-week course that meets virtually twice weekly, beginning in late August and ending before Thanksgiving. And so as I talk about these types of resources, I believe in them. As you have seen and come to know regarding myself, I'm educated in regards to entrepreneurship. I went to a university that that educated me around the nonprofit world and the business world. And that has helped me to be successful with the businesses that we've been able to start and businesses that are currently running. At the same time, I've gone to conferences and gotten certificates around running businesses at the same time. This is important to be informed. If you're thinking about starting a business without being educated first, that could be, a disastrous situation, because business has hurdles and challenges to it. And it's important for you to be informed. Of course, through these types of initiatives and programs, they can't address everything, but at least you have some information that will help build a foundation for entrepreneurship. And so programs like Spark are important to those who are considering launching out, and even those who are present, who are current owners who may not have gotten the kind of support and information that they need to run a successful business. So Spark is certainly a program or an initiative in our community that I would certainly encourage you to be a part of. And with that being said, this is through St. Mary's College, and I believe Dr. Regina Hill is over that program and currently looking to hire someone to continue leading the Spark program as well. And so certainly it's a program that is beneficial. Do I encourage you to go to all of the initiatives and programs that are out there? No. Maybe one or two. You don't need to get a piece of paper or certificate of participation from all of them. All of them generally are saying the same things, but I think you also have to find an initiative and a program that fits what you're doing as an entrepreneur or what you want to do. And so it's important to go in and check them out. And again, as I use the word shop them and find out which one really fits you. We also have the University of Notre Dame, Dr. Michael Morris, who has a program there as well, and the South Bend Entrepreneurship and Diversity, my screen here, diversity program. It's an urban poverty and business. Trying to get my screen. It's a urban okay, there we go. Entrepreneurship program. And this is a great program as well. This is a 12-month program. They foster the creation of new profitable ventures by those facing economic or other disadvantages, assist existing small businesses owned by those with disadvantages in becoming sustainable and growing. They work with community members on the development of both the person as an entrepreneur and the business, as a successful venture. They identify and share best practices in poverty alleviation through entrepreneurship. Again, going to business to make money. The hope is to certainly hit the $1 million mark and above. As you saw, Oprah was able to do that, and others also, and measure and track the development and performance of entrepreneurs and their ventures based on program participation. Hustle SB is a part of the South Bend Elkhart Regional program, and this is a program for Black, Indigenous, people of color, and women business owners that already have at least a year in business and who are focused on exploring new solutions for their customers, generating new ideas, and shoring up current business practices to create a solid foundation upon which to grow. And as well, again, the South Bend Elkhart Regional Partnership, there is a website there for your pleasure. There are other resources within our community and outside of our community. I made mention of the national resource, which is the Small Business Administration, SBA. I've utilized that, I think, on the front end many years ago. I was able to connect with the SBA, and generally they give you information and help, and they're hands off, but they give you information and help regarding starting a business and all of those kind of things, and they are helpful. More so probably to businesses who are more mature, and people who are informed, because they're going to point you in different directions more so than they're going to give you granular services. The City of South Bend, out of my office, the Diversity of Compliance and Inclusion, we offer what is called the Small Business Assistance Suite. This is only for those who live in South Bend, that we provide legal, accounting, bookkeeping, and tax preparation, business coaching, financial coaching, and I added a component this year, the digital component. Many times we're finding that our businesses don't have a digital imprint. And so getting them started with a website and those kind of things are important, as people are always looking for your services. And now certainly being digital puts you in front of people who may be looking out there on the internet. Certainly you can register and or you can go to my webpage at the City of South Bend Office of Diversity and Inclusion, and it will give you an opportunity to register for the Small Business Assistance Suite and or just to connect to us, to stay informed in regards to what we're offering and the kind of things that we're doing for entrepreneurs in our city. Also, the City of South Bend Community Investment has a revolving loan. You may be aware or not, but a couple of years ago, we were awarded $7.7 million to be able to loan and lend to our community. So this is an opportunity for you as African-American women who may be interested or have a need for lending, certainly to look at the 1% opportunity there. Of course, it's similar to going to a bank. And so there are going to be some requirements and some things that you'll need to submit, statements and margins and all of those kinds of things. This is not free money, but these are loans that are given through the City of South Bend. You must file an application and all of those good things that come with lending. Here is information regarding their website, web page that you certainly can take down and use to your advantage. We have the St. Joe County Chamber of Commerce, South Bend Regional Chamber of Commerce, with the certainly an address there regarding their website. Certainly another source, another resource to each of you who may be in business already or are looking to launch. Then we have the Latin American Chamber of Commerce, and their website information is listed there. We also have the Black Chamber. They currently do not have a website. So these are the resources that we have in our own community that you can connect to that can be of benefit to you. Let's talk about MWBE certification, which is Minority Women Business Enterprise. There are 5 different entities that the city recognizes as certifying agencies. The City of Indianapolis is a certifying agency. Great Lakes Women's Business Council is a certifying agency for MBE or WBE certification. The Indiana Department of Transportation is another certifying agency. IDOA, Indiana Indiana Department of Administration, and then as well, last but not least, Mid-States Minority Supplier Development Council. These are just 5. There are many of them across the country, but these are 5 that the city of South Bend considers as certifying agencies that we support and we look to for certification for businesses that we like to work with. And so these are opportunities that are certainly afforded to women entrepreneurs or minority entrepreneurs that can be instrumental in you finding grants or contractual opportunities rather to increase income to your business. And many times you have to have a certification of MBE or WBE in order for that to happen. And some of these, like Mid-States Minority Supplier Development Council, there is a fee in order to attain a certification through them. They do have scholarships. Many of the certifying organizations that have a fee have scholarships at the same time. And so there is support there for those of you all that may be challenged in regards to being able to pay a fee for certification. Indiana Department of Transportation, that's free. IDOA, Indiana Department of Administration, also have free certifications. The process generally takes 90 to 120 days. They're going to ask you for a lot of documentation. And so you must be ready to provide those documentations and to show that you are 51% owner. If it's going to be a woman-owned business, that you are 51% owner of that company. And through the series of questions that they'll ask, they'll be able to drill down as to whether you are the 51% owner. What is an MWBE certification? It stands for Minority Women-Owned Business Enterprises. In some states, the two may be treated separately, and you may see MBE or WBE instead. In our state, we use MBE and WBE. In either case, it's a certification issued by the state that provides developmental benefits to these businesses. At least 47 states plus Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico have state-level MWBE development programs. There are also a number of existing certification programs that are run by federal and local government agencies and private organizations. And then short and long-term goals. So important if you're going to become a entrepreneur, or if you are currently an existing business owner. Short-term goals refer to goals that you would like to accomplish in the near future. The near future might include any period of time up to about a year. You might have a series of short-term goals, such as goals for the day, the week, and month, and then your longer-term goals for the year. Short-term goals could be building your website, could be building a social media presence for your business, could be posting 3 times per week on social media to attract attention to your company, could be securing your first client. Long-term goals, which excuse me, are important to you. Long-term goals describe the milestones you want to reach further in the future. This is where you begin to articulate your 1, 5, and 10-year plans for your business. You want to think about your final ambitions for your business and what you want to accomplish as an entrepreneur. Running your small business full-time with the finances to quit your traditional job can be a long-term goal. And let me stick a pin in there, because many times I find, especially in the African-American community, we feel like we have to quit our job to start our business. And I would suggest, again, I suggest you not quit your job to start your business. You need the income from your job so that you have income coming into your household while you're getting your business up and running. Generally, it takes 2 to 3 years before you start seeing some momentum of income, whereby you may be able to take a part-time salary, depending on the business that you start, if it's manufacturing or IT or businesses like that that have larger margins. Of course, down the road, you're able to take a salary that pays you well. But starting a business in the healthcare industry and the industries that I made mention of earlier that certainly create smaller margins, it takes time in order for you to build a business to where it will support your household. And so it's important to take note of that, because many times we launch out, we quit our job, and there's no income coming into the business, because what has to happen with the business is you can't eat the seed that's going to spur the wealth on the front end. And so you've got to put the seed back into the business, not into your pocket, but back into the business in order for the business to become successful and thriving and successful, which is what I believe that all of us want and desire to experience. And then generating a specific amount of revenue each year can be a long-term goal. Achieving the growth you need to hire employees. Certainly through the Small Business Assistance Suite, we help businesses to scale up. And so at some point, becoming a business that's able to hire employees within your business confines. Increasing your company's market share by a certain percentage over the next 2 years, again, another long-term goal. Well, I've come to the end of my presentation and facilitation of today's PowerPoint, and as well gathering through focusing on entrepreneurship and 360 degrees of success. Are there any questions at this time?
Mr. Patton, if I can just interrupt you a moment, I first want to thank you for that invaluable information you've given to us. What we would like to do, if you don't mind, we do have a couple of questions. We'd like to keep our questions to the end.
Okay.
And we'd like to give our second speaker an opportunity to share her invaluable information. Great. And then we can just tie up with questions and hopefully some testimonials.
All right.
Thank you so much. We could go all day with this, but unfortunately that, life doesn't allow us to do that. Yeah. So it's now my pleasure to introduce Ms. Dominique Granger, our second speaker. And Ms. Granger's motto is, "A dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work." She describes herself as a servant leader. She has dedicated the past 15 plus years of her studies towards continuous business administration, professional development, conflict resolution, and leadership training. She also has 20 plus years of demonstrated success in event management, scheduling, coordinating, and building a bridge to connect with various businesses and network to provide goods and services. She is a 3-time Bethel College alumnus, a certified wedding planner and coordinator, venue owner of Majestic on the River, and owner and designer, of Majestic Events Management and Consulting LLC. She considers herself a Christian business owner, She is pleased to be able to serve diverse clients as well as helping inspire business owners and promoting community in the event industry in the greatest joy. To end my introduction of her, she quotes, "All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them." I introduce to you Miss Granger, a former native or a native of Chicago. Miss Granger, please. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and thank you for having me. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Again, thank you for having me. Thank you, Apostle Patton, for setting the atmosphere. It makes it a little bit easier for me to come and do my part of the assignment. I'm not nervous, but I do have a plethora of information that I would love to share. I just want to make sure that I have it in order. So please bear with me if I kind of jump around. I just want to make sure that I'm giving all that I have. So what I did was I took the assignment that was given to me and what they require, what they asked for me, what you all asked for me to do. And I'm just going to try to follow this layout this way. Thank you again, Jacqueline, for that introduction. It is very humbling to hear it read back. Okay, where should I start? Actually, if you all don't mind, can I just take a quick second and have a word of prayer just to kind of bring myself back to where we need to be? Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for who you are. We thank you for all the things that you do, and we thank you for the things that you're getting ready to do. Dear God, as I get ready to complete this assignment, I ask that you speak into my ear, that I may say what I hear. And oh God, I just ask that you use me to be a vessel and a tool to help someone else. I won't take any of the credit. I'll give you all the glory because it all belongs to you. These things I ask in your precious, wonderful, glorious name. And I thank you, God, in advance because all is well. And amen. Okay. One of the things that one of the topics I would like to touch base first on is the business organization, planning and implementing business development. So I have a couple keys to entrepreneurship and for small business owners. The professional solutions, professional development for entrepreneurs. Why is it and how does it matter? And why does it matter? And how does it help? I'm sorry. My intention today is to share keys to help strengthen businesses for small business owners and entrepreneurs. Okay, and what is professional development? It can be used in reference to a wide variety of specialized training, formal education, and or the advanced professional learning intended to help administrators, teachers, small business owners, entrepreneurs, and other educators improve their professional knowledge, competence, skills, and effectiveness. One of my first keys is taken from Habakkuk 2:2-3. Write the vision and make it plain upon the tablets that he who reads it will set the, I'm sorry, write the vision and make it plain upon the tablets that he who reads it will run. That he may run who reads it. Oh my, that he will run who reads it. That sets the foundation for your business. I have this skill. If we have time, I'd like to come back around and do this. It's called Rank Your Skills. I'm going to go through them and give a brief overview of them. And like I said, if we have time, I'd like to have you all just kind of go back through them. We're right, and you can rank your skills and see what areas where you are and what you need and what areas you can actually work in or improve in. So to maximize your potential for success, it is important that you operate from your strengths and realize when you need to get help. These skills I'm going to describe will help you to see where those areas you need to work in. Communication. How are your communication skills? Both oral and written communication skills are extremely important when running a business. You will need to speak and send emails to other correspondents to customers, vendors, employees, and consultants. Networking. One of the keys to have a successful business is built on an old-fashioned notion. You are only as successful as the help you are to others. Let me read that one more time. You will only be as successful as you help others to be successful. The art of networking is one of the many rewards. Master this important skill set and new business doors will fly open for you. You'll be enriched by the relationships you will make as you help others achieve their goals while making and meeting your own objectives. Generally speaking, we're talking about two types of businesses, the one-side business for yourself and then helping someone else grow their business. Another example of a network, the usefulness of a network would be the original landline telephone. In the old movies, it was a cute little phone with the little rotary dials. But being one of the first owners of a telephone had to been pretty useless because it had to been pretty useless because since you had nobody to call and you wouldn't be able to talk until you called or someone called you. So at that point, the network wasn't all that useful. But once the number of users in that network reached a critical mass, probably city by city, the more people that got the phone and started to dial, that's when it became more useful. It's kind of a sense in growing your network. Find people who can help you. Find people who can help you and that you can help so that it will be a win-win situation. Organizing and time management. I like to label this one self-discipline. And the reason I label it self-discipline because as an entrepreneur and small business owner, one of the benefits of being a small business owner is you can set your own hours. You are your own boss. You know, we hear all of the positive sides of it. But one of the sides that we don't really talk about of it is when you are an entrepreneur or a small business owner versus when you work for someone, that person that you work for in that leadership, they're certified and they're trained. So they know how to run a company. They know what needs to be done and they know how to correct you when you're wrong. As an entrepreneur and a small business owner, you don't have no one over you. You have to have that self-discipline. You have to know when. You have to have time management. You have to be organized. You have to have that self-discipline. There's a lot of information that I could go on as far as that go, and now we'll come back to that one. But keeping track when you're running a business, so you'll want to make sure you have good organization skills and be able to create systems to make things run smoothly. Understanding how to use your time effectively and efficiently is so key as a small business owner or even as an entrepreneur. The next one is drive and confidence. Starting a business is not easy. You have to be self-motivated and confident. With each success, you will always face challenges and setbacks. You need to have an inner drive and focus, to overcome challenges and keep going. Technology. Thanks to technology, here we are. Thanks to the pandemic, as we see, everything was literally forced to go to, even if you didn't know technology, we always hear our elderly say, oh, I just want to stay with my old phone. I don't want to learn anything new. Again, thanks to the pandemic, everything had shifted. So now the older generation in order to stay connected to the world, we had to have and learn technology. So as far as technology in your business, you should be comfortable with technology you would need to use to run your business. This includes your hardware, your software, backing up your systems. If you don't have any knowledge, don't be afraid to seek out resources to help even by watching YouTube videos, taking a class or course, or knowing when to hire an expert to help you. Industry specific skills. Understand how your industry operates. It is important for you to be knowledgeable about your industry and that your industry you are entering. For an example, you may want to start a fitness studio just because you love exercise, but do you know what it takes to be a part of that industry? Do you understand the operating costs, the expenses, the customers, the marketing, how to train employees, and so forth? Selling. This is for small business owners or entrepreneurs or consultants that sell a service. There is probably not one that will believe in your product or service more than you. You have to be able to talk to your customers and ask for sales. And don't be afraid, because for 25 no's, you may get that one yes, and that one yes may be what you need, and just the only yes that you need to excel your business to that next level. Legal. Your business may have contracts. Your business should have contracts, intellectual property, trademarks, copyrights, or patents. that you would need to protect your company. Even as a small business owner, we heard Apostle Patton talk about registering your business and making sure your business affairs is in order. This kind of falls along the lines of that as well. Operations, know your business. Don't expect people to know your business. And I'll share a story a little further on, but that's one of my personal issues that I had in the beginning, that I knew my business, but I didn't know how to communicate it to everybody, because God had given me such a grand vision that it was in so many sections that when I would start to tell one part of it or try to share the vision of this one or work on this one, I would get distracted in trying to figure out that. So I know my business, but I had to learn how to put it in order and put it in steps so that could help me focus on different levels and areas. So not just know your business, but know your business and know the direction that you're going with your business. Accounting. Sound financial practices are essential to operating a business. You can hire a bookkeeper. Apostle Patton again talked about the banking, but you can hire a bookkeeping service or an accountant to review your accounts. But it's necessary for you to have understanding of how your business operates financially, or it will just be a hobby. Human resources and supervisory skills. When you hire an employee, you will need to make sure you follow employment and payroll laws. You will be the leader of your business and your staff will look to you for direction. It is important to have necessary skills as it manages others. Okay. Okay. This one is one that we see a lot that I think that, okay, I'll just go into it. Check your attire. Align yourself. Personally, I like to say align yourself with either your business, your organization, whether you're doing an event, presenting, or whatever it is, align yourself with. So if you're going out to go talk, if you're going to a speaking engagement, align yourself with that organization. If you're going to, even to host an event, make sure you align yourself, your attire, align yourself and your presentation with what you are going to be a part of. For an example, you wouldn't want to be going to a speaking engagement and wear a fur coat, and then the engagement you're going to is about animal cruelty. You know what I mean? Like, so make sure you align yourself with your whatever event or whatever this organization, whatever it is that you're doing, whenever you're going to speak or present, make sure you align yourself, do your homework, do some research, and make sure you're aligning yourself with what you're doing. So know your attire. Show up or call if something happens. Communication is so important. Even if you're going to be late, even as an entrepreneur business owner, we still owe our clients that same level of respect. Hey, a text or phone call or even an email, I'm running 10 minutes behind. Don't think just because it's your business that it's okay for you to be late and expect people to be okay with it. Time is money for everybody, I would say. So have that level of respect, the same way we would like our clients to call ahead and say, hey, I can't come, something came up, I need to reschedule, or I'm running late. That same level that we expect from our clients, we should be able to offer to them as well. Okay, I said the numbers. Okay, never disqualify a person by appearance. I learned a lot. I learned that dirty pants and boots and a Sawyer ball cap actually meant that this guy owned a farm and had a lot of money that could afford any service or item that I was selling, versus the man in the suit, sharp suit, clean and nice car, and a well appearance with no money at all. So don't disqualify your clients or potential client by their appearance or what they look like. Take the time to communicate with that person, get to know them, have that conversation. If any of us are connected with a higher power, you'll have a discernment. You'll begin, and in this business, and you operating under God's will, you'll have a discernment and to know. But don't look at a person and judge the book. As they say, don't judge a book by its cover. Take that second, especially if they're interested in a service. Take that second to know, take a minute to have a conversation, to hear what they're presenting, what it is they're interested in, and build from there. So never disqualify a potential client by appearance. Okay, don't turn your back. And this is a personal experience. In my neighborhood, I saw these guys was putting up a fence, and I've always wanted a fence. Excuse me. So I approached the gentleman that was working on the fence, and I had been watching for a couple of days, just kind of following, and I approached them and I asked, I said, hey, do you have a business card or a website I'd like to go look and see and get more information, you know, and maybe get some price and get a quote? he barely looked around. He barely looked back. He just said, I don't have a business card. And he turned back around and went back to work. And so don't turn your back. Even if you don't have a business card, because to me, like, we're going to get a fence. They're interested in that fence. But because he turned his back on me, he just lost that client. Like, we got the fence going now, but because he turned his back and because he was rude, he lost his potential client. So don't turn your back. Like, if a person approaches you and they ask you for information on a business card, even if you don't have a business card, say that, communicate that, or try to get the information, or at least lead them to your website or give them something. Don't act like, or don't be so busy that you can't take a second to lead them to your information or way to get it, because you should always have your business card. That's me calling the kettle black because I don't always have my business card, but I am polite enough to say, hey, can I either get your information or let me write down my website for you, to at least lead them, because you never know. Another tip is, I like to say no to stepping in the name of love at work. Whether you're hosting an event, whether you're a business owner or a small business owner or entrepreneur, just say no. And the reason that I say this is because don't become too casual with your clients or potential clients. Although it is important to build strong relationships, keep it professional at all times. I cannot express that enough. Keep it professional at all times, even at company parties. And I'll just scratch a little surface and say, even at sorority events, you never know who you're networking with and who you're going to encounter. Keep it professional at all times. Yes, have fun, but remember that you're conducting business. I remember I was at an event and the person was doing, they was networking and having business, and the business relationship that this potential client and this business owner was building was really going well. Well, by the end of the night and after a few drinks, she ended up dancing. It was an R. Kelly song that she danced with the person that the business owner, she was dancing to one of the R. Kelly songs by the end of the night. And I just kind of overheard the business owner saying, I wouldn't do business, how unprofessional. Like, so needless to say, keep it professional at all times. And I like to say, just say no to stepping in the name of love. Watch what you say. This is one that I express a lot. If I don't talk about none of the other tips, I talk about communication and watching what you say. And I do a lot behind the scenes. I do a lot of political work. Like, I do a lot of communications work for a lot of politicians and local people here that run for different positions in office. And one of the things that I tell them is always speak like you're being recorded. You always talk like you're being recorded. That way you won't, and I'll just scratch another surface. We had a local situation here where it was a group of parties. There was a group of people at a location and they had a problem with the person that owned that building. Unbeknownst to them, he had cameras and he recorded it and he put it out for the world to see, to expose these specific people having this negative conversation about him. And so it's the same thing when you do interviews or when you're talking to people. You always, again, you keep it professional and you always speak like you're being recorded. So that way, if anything ever comes back, you can repeat it back and own up to what you say. Always, always speak like it's being recorded, like you're being recorded. My next one is deal with facts. As an entrepreneur or a small business owner, nobody is perfect. I didn't create anybody perfect, but it should be consistent method of operation for every business. Make sure the decisions that you make are based on solutions and not emotions. It's so important that because we are our representation, and I can go a little bit further as far as big businesses. And I say this a lot. I was talking to the owner at, this is a small situation that happened at, I'll say the name, Bruno's Pizza a couple years ago. And the employee offended a customer. And the one thing that this customer did was this person went to, of course, in social media, he went to social media and he made a post about what happened. And the post took off, practically about went viral, because then everybody jumped on it. Everybody jumped on it. Everybody had something to say about an experience. The one thing that people that big businesses don't think about is your employees are a representation of you. So it is so important that you make sure your employees are in alignment with your vision and carrying out the mission, because when they say or do something, whether it's bad customer service, bad business, whether it's a racial slur, whatever it is, they're not going to say Mike at this restaurant offended me. No, they're going to say this restaurant has this restaurant did this to me. And so often businesses get hit pretty hard because they forget about the employee. Like, let's make sure we're training our employees or the people that or even the people that represent your business as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur. If there's a person that's representing your business, make sure that they are representing your business and following your vision and your mission, because otherwise anything that they say or do can affect your business overall. They're not going to target that employee or that person that represents your business. They're going to target the name of the business. So make sure that you have your employees or your staff or your team workers are always following your vision and your mission when they're representing your name. So that's just to say, let me use an example of, we'll just say a city worker, and they have on a city worker attire and he going to the liquor store. It's the same thing. Like, you wouldn't want to go into the liquor store with your city shirt on, because guess what? It's people like us that's out here and we're looking, oh, look, he's on, especially even if in a work truck, oh, look, he's on the clock and he went in the liquor store. We do that to police officers all the time. If they stop, or, you know what I mean? We always put a stigma to a situation. So make sure that the people that represent your small business or your organization or your company, or even your company, make sure that they are representing who you are on or off the clock. And that's more easier said than done, I can attest, but it is definitely something that we all aim to strive at. A small business etiquette tip I want to say is, one of the number one secrets is etiquette is to hold enrolling conversations with your favorite kind of client. Hold conversations with your client. Talk to your clients, even potential clients. Take time to communicate. That's not something we do a lot of. We just kind of assume that people should know, and that's not always the best thing. Take a second and to communicate and understand and just hear out your client or a potential client. Always make time for that part of it. Okay. Be a critical thinker. I'm just trying to figure out how to say this part of it. So when I say be a critical thinker or use critical thinking, I'll use an example. I have always been a right is right or wrong is wrong person. And long story short, I worked for a corporation that planted a seed. So let me just give a short overview. I worked for this multi-million-dollar corporation, and I worked there for 10 years. Pay was good. Workplace atmosphere was okay. The problem with this corporation was the leadership and the management. Poor leadership, the hours, everything was perfect. The breaks, like everything was good. It was the management that had the largest negative impact on this company. So they couldn't understand how the other 16 corporations was running so well, and this one here wasn't running so well. So they brought in some experts or some top people, and they sat down 8 of us, and they pulled us all aside. They had a group, and they pulled us aside and asked us all these different questions. What do you think is the problem? You know, they went through this whole thing. So one of the biggest things one of the main thing came out was the leadership skills. So this corporation brought in an academy. And this academy brought in they put up like a learning academy in this corporation. And so it was free for everybody, but it was targeted toward the leadership, the management supervisors, team leads. And oddly enough, the people that this program was targeted for, they didn't enroll and didn't go through the certifications. It was people like, I was one of a few that went through, I got into the program, and I mean, you get certifications. It was so many perks. I couldn't understand personally why you wouldn't want to go through. It's like not just certifications, it was other perks that you can carry into this day. So fast forward, back to the critical thinking, once I saw how leadership should be ran and how it should run, it was very difficult for me to stay at this workplace to stay under this leadership and under this management where they not only did they not take the classes, but they wasn't applying what they learned. So that bothered my mental. I refused, and I prayed about it, but I refused to stay at a place. So after I took those certifications and I learned how a business should be ran, in my mind, I said, okay, well, I'm going to leave here. In my mind, one day I'm going to leave here and I'm going to go enroll in school, and I'm going to learn how, finish learning how to run business, actually from a Christian perspective, because I graduated from Bethel. But I wanted to learn how to do business from a Christian perspective so that I could show big corporations like that, this is how you run a business. These are the tools you need. This, you know, and I went and so those was my intentions. And so for me, let me see this one part because I don't want to forget. So basically for me, when I say being a critical thinker is I saw a problem and I saw a need and I saw a problem and I created a solution for it. My solution was there was poor leadership. There was poor management there. That was the problem. They had a solution there. I took the opportunity and enrolled and was a part of the solution. It just didn't help the situation. So I took what I could and I learned and I left. Actually, I applied for a couple of leadership positions, but it was the way it was set up there. It wasn't room for us to grow. And I just like to say that it was God telling me, okay, you got all that you need from here. You can take what you need and now you can go. And that's when I left and I actually enrolled in Bethel. And by the time and I'll say this, that I wasn't going to say, but I'll say this, I did it with an ill intent. And so, and I did it with like a vengeful heart or a vengeful mind, because I said, that's okay. I'm going to leave this company and I'm going to go get my degrees and I'm gonna start a company and then I'll come back and I'll show y'all. So I did it with ill intent. Unbeknownst to me, God did have a different plan. So I did go, he did deal with my heart on that. And so I realized that was because what I went for, enroll at Bethel College, they really didn't have. So he did deal with me on that. But inside of that, don't do anything with ill intent or ill heart. Because if you have any connections with God, he will deal with you on that. So always have good intentions. And then again, in any situation, if you really want to be successful, one of the biggest things is I can name a couple different things within this business realm. But if you see a problem, that's the biggest thing. Is like, we don't have to recreate the wheel, but if you see a problem, create a solution. If you see a need, create a solution. That's not always easy, but that's a great starting point. Dealing with difficult people, difficult clients, deal with difficult people and difficult clients. It is very important that you learn how to deal. Your normal self, the person you grew up to be, and even sometimes the training, that will be tested in regardless of what area, what field, or what business, what sorority, what organization you're in. Excuse me. Even in the church, if we're going to be transparent, you're going to deal with difficult people. No two people was created the same. And so in this business, you have to learn to deal with difficult people. One thing I like to credit God on is giving me sort of like a spirit of a chameleon, because I can adapt and meet people where they are. That's not judging, but however you are, I can meet you where you are and not be affected or offended by who you are or how you are, because so often we look at people and we want to try to change them and we can't. People are who they are. They've been that way before they encountered us. And when they encounter us, we feel as if we owe them. We feel as if they have to change it. They shouldn't be this way. And, oh, you're wrong. You shouldn't be like that. That's okay in a sense, because that's who they are. We have to stop trying to change people. Yet, if we could just meet people where they're at, that makes it a lot easier to deal with. Because, and I hate to use this example like this, and it's a little bit touchy, but I'm going to use it. I'll take a person that is strung out on drugs. And this is not my story, but I'll just say I have an uncle that's strung out on drugs. I love him to death. He's family. I love him. I'll help him as much as I can. But anybody that's ever dealt with a person that has a drug addiction, when they get an itch, they have to scratch it. And the sad part about it is they don't realize the impact of the hurt that they cause while trying to get that itch. After they get that itch, then the conviction and the sad and the hurt and the sorrowful, then it comes. And then so they want to come back and make right. And that's okay, because then once you understand it, you understand that that is not directed towards you. It's just that there's a problem that they had and they have that itch. And so I said all that to say, so we'll just say Uncle Mike. So we know Uncle Mike is strung out on drugs. When Uncle Mike comes to my house, I can meet Uncle Mike where he's at. I'm not going to be shady to him or not let him over my house or do all that. What I will do is be like a chameleon. I know that Uncle Mike is strung out on drugs. I know that Uncle Mike has a potential to steal. So I'm not going to reject him and not show him love. I'm going to put up valuables or keep him in the area of my house, meet him where he's at in the area and meet him in a sense, meet him where he's at. So I'll still show him love, but I'll have him in an area of my house or a different area where I don't have to worry about him stealing or taking. So that's what I mean when I say being like a chameleon. You can meet people where they at, whatever type of person you're dealing with, whether it's a person struck out on drugs, and even if it's a difficult client, just because that client has been difficult to you, don't take it personal like it's just you. That person can be a very difficult client automatically anyways. And it's just some people like that. We all can agree or have encountered a difficult person, whether it's a difficult client or a difficult family member even. But understanding people, how they are, and accepting them as they are makes it easier to deal with them. I should say slightly easier, because it's not always easier, but it helps in dealing with it, because it's not just, oh, woe is me. It's just that they targeted you, that they just want to be a butthole to you. No, that's not the case. That's just how they are. And when you understand, and then it's having keys and understanding principles, how to talk to this difficult client, how to meet them where they're at, trying to listen. Something that we don't do is we don't really listen to understand. We just hear what we're going to hear, and especially when they rah, instead of taking a second to just be quiet and listen to what they're trying to say. That helps in understanding. I have one of my certifications in conflict resolution. So I understand steps that it takes to meet a person, to understand and see what it takes. And sometimes they just need to talk. They just need to vent. And then the part for us mentally, which this can go to a different direction, but I'm gonna try to keep it simple, is learning to hear and not hear. So learning to hear and not hear is like, don't allow these clients or even these people to dump on you. And so then you're left bearing and curing, or even the sad stories of client, I wanted to have this big event and such just happened and all these problems happen. And before you know it, you've consumed, because you're hearing it in your spirit, you're consuming all of these emotions and you're prompted and you want to say or try to do something. But when you learn to hear it, but not hear it, you hear it on a professional level, but you're not processing it in your mind and your body so that it affects you. Sort of goes along with the lines of understanding the client and meeting them where they at, and dealing with the difficult people. Okay, the next one I have is managing. It kind of goes along with what I just said about managing conflict between your team, your employees, your family, or your clients. Understand and be, as an entrepreneur or small business owner, understand that it is okay to be wrong. Understand that it is okay to make mistakes. It happens. It's not that it's a bad thing, it's how you resolve the problem or the error or the mistake. To treat it, especially when you are in the wrong, the worst thing you can do to a person or a client is to act or treat them like they don't know what you did was wrong. That's so insulting. So if you're in this business, or a business owner, or even an entrepreneur, even a regular person in life, one of the most insulting things is when somebody tells us or talk to us like we don't know, or like we're stupid, for lack of a better word. Own up. If you're wrong and you see it and it's been proven and you made a mistake, own up, apologize, and then try to create a solution to make it right. Yeah, you could say, I just lost one client. Well, my goal is to not lose any clients. I want everybody that I encounter to leave with a good experience, even if they don't do business with me. You always, like for me, it's in the Bible. You always treat people right. Treat them with love. So even when you're wrong, make right your wrong as best you can. That's not saying bend over, but make right. Go to the extent of making right your wrong. Don't just say, I messed up, I'm wrong. And because I own this business, or because I can do that, because you can, that doesn't make it right. And losing one client is just as bad as losing 5, if you ask me, because word of mouth is powerful. Yes, ma'am.
I hate to interrupt you because you're giving us such valuable information, but I want to make sure that I'm cognizant of everyone's time and that we stay on point, and perhaps the remaining points that you have, you can incorporate them in some of our answers to our questions. Is that possible? You could do that?
Just breezing.
But I wanted to make sure that we have enough time for our questions, and there are a couple of questions, I'm told, in the chat.
Can I just take 5 more minutes just to and I'll scratch through the surface. There's some critical things I really wanted to share.
I was sending you chats to remind you, but perhaps you didn't see them.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't. I'll just breeze through this next.
Go ahead. 5 more minutes is fine.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to say the topics and do a brief line. Humble beginnings. always stay humbled, always stay humbled, always stay humbled. Don't get so big that it is okay to sit high and look low, because the way that God is set up, he will re-humble you. I'll leave that as that. Strategic management. We have strategic management, decisions based on facts and on solutions. Servant leadership. Are you a servant leader? It is so important. One of the things that I wanted at Bethel was I had to learn to serve before I can lead. Please learn to serve. Serve under somebody before you lead. It will help you. Okay. A reward system. Reward yourself. Reward your clients. Reward your team. Reward your employees. Walking the fine line between family and friends. When you are a small business owner or involved in volunteer organizations, it is so often we hear people say, oh, I don't want to deal with family. Find that fine line. Because family, to me, I would encourage you to deal with family, because those are learning curves, and they'll test in my worldly words, they'll test your gangsters. So, and if you can learn to handle and deal with family on business transactions, that'll definitely help you with dealing with people in the world. Okay. My other is 2 more points that I wanted to touch. It's the SWOT analysis. And like we said, maybe there's another time we can come back to it, but the SWOT analysis, that is in your business, that is your strength, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And understanding the SWOT analysis is a simple tool that can help you analyze aspects of your business or your organization. One thing that I like to talk about is how it can reveal areas of what areas personally in your business or organization. It reveals what areas you're weak in, what areas you're strong in, what opportunities you have, and what are your threats. And so there's a list of questions that goes with that, like your strengths. What do you do well? What are your unique resources that you can draw on? What do others see as your strengths? Weaknesses, what could you improve? Excuse me. Where do you have fewer resources than others? What are others likely to see as weaknesses? Opportunities, what opportunities are open to you? What trends could you take advantage of? How can you turn your strength into opportunities? Threats, what threats could harm you in your business? What is your competition doing? What threats to your weaknesses expose you? And then in there, it just gives a little bit more information about your SWOT analysis and how you can determine and how you can break down as far as that. And then one of the other things is your target market. My last one is your target market. After you've identified your SWOT analysis, and after you identified your businesses, your weaknesses, your strengths, your opportunities, and your threats, and you're ready to go forth and really excel in your business. Now, everybody has a business, and what people don't realize is, who are you targeting in your business? What makes you unique? Why would I want to shop with you? Why should I shop with you or come and visit you versus this person over here? So and then 2, who are you targeting? And then finding your niche. In your target marketing, it is a strategy that I developed that breaks a large market into smaller segments to concentrate on specific customers. So if you're selling, and it goes a little bit deep, and I'm just trying to consolidate this, but if I'm targeting, so I'm just trying to think of an example. I can give examples of why it's important, because we'll just use a Facebook ad per se. If I'm having let's just say, I'll just use a kid's birthday party for the simplest. If I'm having a kid's birthday party and I want to and it's a public party and it's a big kids event that I'm having, and I want to target, I do a Facebook ad and I want to target other parents with kids that has an age group of 1 to 5. So typically, I'm not going to put on my algorithms on Facebook and say I'm targeting 40-year-olds. That's not likely. More likely, I would target, in this day, teen moms, maybe 30 and over. So that's your target. Who are you trying to reach in whatever it is that you're selling? I wouldn't try to sell a bling bling t-shirt to, it's kind of throwing it out there, but an 80-year-old. Like, I would more target people that's into fashion, that loves t-shirts. Same thing with your Jordans and the things that you sell. Be more specific in what it is that you're selling. Find who you are trying to target. Target who you are interested in and the people that you want to attract, that you want to support your business. I'll just make this quick and use Majestic. I know we have a target market here at Majestic on the River. One of the crowds we target older people. We target traditional. We target a more elite class of events. We try to stay away from 21-year-old parties and things like that. So we have a target. Make sure whatever it is that you do, you have a target that you're aiming, a group of people or business or organization that you're trying to reach. I can cut it short there for questions and answers.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much, so much. Miss Jacquees Black, I believe, is still on the call.
I am.
Okay, and she will take over now by monitoring our questions. And I hope Mr. Patton is still with us. And both of you, Ms. Granger and Mr. Patton, may address the questions unless it's specifically addressed to one of you. Ms. Black, please.
Thank you, Soror Jackie. We have several questions in our chat, and I will get started with those. The first question that we have, it says, could you tell us a little bit more about industries? What industry should POCs consider that whites are thriving? I believe that was for Pastor Patton.
So
Or-
I would say certainly I made mention of manufacturing, IT industries, those, just to name a few, are industries that are thriving currently.
Okay. Our second question, if someone wants to start a business and cannot afford an attorney to review plans, structures, are there any other affordable or accessible community resources available? And does the city offer assistance in this regard?
So I made mention of the city and the Small Business Assistance Suite, where we offer legal, accounting, bookkeeping, and tax preparation, along with business coaching and financial coaching, and the addition of the digital component. Certainly there are opportunities there for those who live in South Bend to register and to potentially join and participate in those services. Outside of that, the Small Business Administration that I made mention of certainly is a support system to that question. You can also Google or whatever search engine you like to use, potential support to businesses when it comes to legal and accounting or whatever the need is. The other resources that I made mention of offer at times that kind of support as well. And so, yeah, it just takes searching and finding who can I consult with based upon what I can afford or not afford, finding programs that will give you that kind of support.
The next question states, how do you measure success for your business? And maybe you could talk about how you trace the performance of your business. That was a question.
Yeah, very good question. All of the questions that have been raised are great questions. For myself, and I think in a broad perspective as well, you have to look at your business financial statements. How much money is coming in, how much money goes out, will help you to understand the success of your business. That's important. Looking at income statements and measuring the profitability there is important. Checking customer satisfaction, certainly that's important to a business. If you're servicing and providing product or whatever it is that you're doing as an entrepreneur, you need to hear back from your customers, whether you use a survey, whether you ask them directly, or whatever format you choose to find out how satisfied or not, then it's important for you to do that. Thirdly, I would say, looking at how many customers you get. I often look at that, certainly at the end of the year. I'm looking at how many contracts I was able to garner this year, and then I'm setting goals for next year. If I was able to garner 32 in this year, I may establish a goal of 50 for next year, or whatever the case may be. And so, increasing my customer base is always important to my business. That's what's going to build my wealth and help me reach the $1 million or the billion goal that I have in becoming the entrepreneur that I want to become. And then conducting performance reviews. If you have employees, that's important. Find out how they're feeling, where they're at, and those kind of things. And so that's important to finding out your success. And then staying current on the market. That's so important. The market ebbs and flows. People and their likes and their taste changes, and you have to stay within the trend, right? Because that's ever changing. And so certainly staying current on the market, I believe, is important. And then assessing your own expectation is also important when we talk about measuring the success of your business. How successful do you want to be? It may be that you don't want to become a millionaire as I do. And so you have to figure out what's success for you. How many businesses you establish that generate the kind of income that you feel is successful to taking care of you and your family. That's a question certainly that you have to raise to yourself as you ask the question, how do I measure success?
Okay. And one final question. You mentioned a little bit about the EIN number and
Sure.
registering. And what are the benefactors of actually getting an EIN number for small business owners? I know that there was some chat about this before where a lot of our minority business owners will not get an EIN number because they think that it's going to hurt them or they don't make enough money or they don't want the IRS coming after them. So what are the benefactors of actually, as a minority business owner, getting an EIN number? And is it going to make or break a business if they don't have one?
So that's a very good question. In my opinion, it's important to have an EIN number based upon the kind of businesses that I like to start. Again, that's a question that an individual has to answer for themselves. And certainly, I want to be a part of the American dream. And I want to certainly continue to support my country by being able to pay taxes. So that's nothing I run from and that I'm afraid of. I'm in business to make money. And oh, by the way, Uncle Sam is going to get a piece of that. And I don't mind sharing the piece of that as well. And so, other benefits to that is that in hiring employees, then those employees, if you're paying them and depending on the kind of company that you have created, for-profit or nonprofit, dictates whether they receive a 1099 and or you pay employee taxes if it's a for-profit and those kind of things. And so an EIN number really can legitimatize your business at the same time because it does give you somewhat of a digital imprint that your business becomes known with IRS, the state. If you registered with the state, your business then becomes known and is registered. And people who feel like that information is important can go out there and find my business registered in Indiana, and as well can find my for-profits, my nonprofits that are registered through IRS as well as for-profits. And so there are benefits, but again, I say it's important to consult attorneys and accountants based upon what's going to be beneficial to your business.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. Ms. Granger, there is a question for you as well. How can we assist in highlighting minority and women-owned businesses to increase their customer base?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How can we assist in highlighting minority and women-owned businesses to increase their customer base?
Okay, quick question. You say we. Who is the we?
I'm thinking just minorities. It's not my question.
I was just trying to understand when they say how can we. So then I will be able to be a little bit broader, more we as in like the city of South Bend, or we as in an organization? How can we assist? And so I'm just trying to make sure that I'm able to answer it clearly. How can we assist?
Maybe the city of South Bend, maybe as a minority business owner, is there any information that we could give to help minority women increase their customer base? Are there any nuggets? Because I know you were giving nuggets.
Networks. You cannot do it alone. Connect. And that's what I mean, I didn't get to dive too much in it, but network, connect. You cannot do it alone. You can, but you can go greater together. We're greater. Network. God, your candle does not dim by lighting the next person. Either serve under somebody, go under somebody that's already doing it to learn under them. And then once you do, network and connect. Work with this person, connect. We don't always have to recreate the wheel. Network, and you'll grow a lot further by growing and connecting networks and growing. And then that will help create a resource guide, which is like something that I have here, a resource guide. And then so those things that they need, we're able to connect through networks and build together. If that answers the question.
If I may interject, I asked the question, Iris Allo.
I just wanted to make sure I understood it. I'm sorry.
Right. And so in essence, when I say we, I mean we as an organization, but I did not know about your venue until I attended an event there, and I was very impressed. So, how do we help you market what you're doing to the community and community wide to help get you generate more business? It's kind of what I was thinking.
So as much as I've learned about networking in school, about marketing in school, that is probably one of my weakest points, I must say. So the way that it has helped, that I've learned that it's helping me over these last 2.5 years venue is word of mouth. Sure, I can create a network and a marketing strategy online that looks really good. But for me, it's the word of mouth, spreading the word of mouth. Like when you hear someone looking for a venue, or they want to have a corporate event, or you're at this bank and you hear people and they need events, or they have this, hey, have you heard about? So me, it's word of mouth. I can say marketing through social media, which is what they taught us. But to me, I've learned word of mouth goes a lot further, and it's more in depth, because we can write something on social media, make it look and sound really good, but nothing like hearing it from a horse's mouth or a reference. So word of mouth, continue to spread the word, because, and even in that target market I talked about, you're going to, and this is no stigma, but you're going to tell people that in your area, I'm trying to use the right word, but you're going to tell people in your world about it. And then and you're at this level, and then you're going to tell other people that's at this level versus people that's here reaching this level. So you tell your own kind. I hate to say it like that because I don't mean it wrong, but essentially, if I target a more upper class, then if my target is upper class events, then upper class people will tell about this event to other upper class people, instead of, hey, I'm 21 years old, you can have your sweet 16 there, versus, hey, let's have a 70th, let's have a retirement party, let's have our business event. So that word of mouth and reaching, you tell your network, that's the word I should have said. You just tell your network, and your network will come and have an experience, and they will tell their network.
Okay, we do have one final question. I know that questions keep arising, so this is going to be our final question in keeping in our time restraints and respect for people's time. And then we do have one testimonial. So this says, Pastor Patton, given your portfolio with diversity and inclusion at the city, what is the trend of women businesses in technology sector? And then what is your office doing to encourage growth in this sector?
So we're not seeing numbers in that sector through the Small Business Assistance Suite, nor are we seeing women gravitate towards the manufacturing sector either. And so we are encouraging women and minorities certainly to begin to rethink their ideas regarding starting business, and IT is one of them, manufacturing another, and other certainly business opportunities that create greater margins for women in business and others. And so currently, I don't have anyone in my portfolio that has an IT company or has an interest. We also are having events and/or trainings to discuss opportunities that are here, and to in hopes that we can plant the seed of an idea to start in particular industries outside of what we're normally accustomed to, starting restaurants, barbecue, and to name one. But generally, you'll find that we are more interested in what we've seen our grandmothers and grandfathers and fathers and mothers venture into that are in the food industry and things of that nature. And so, but I get it, because there are difficulties to starting business and you have to have capital, and that capital comes from your pocket. Sometimes it's easier to start a restaurant with a little barbecue pit at a gas station versus starting, a restaurant in a building because of the finances that it takes. And so we have to prepare ourselves, and we have to build wealth in order to be able to do some of these kind of things. And then we have to get the appropriate information and connect to the appropriate opportunities. There are, I made mention that I was a president and CEO of the Urban League in South Bend. That was an affiliate, much like a Subway, much like other entities like that. That affiliate was a business I ran, right? And it was a national business. Mm-hmm. To give you an example of a business, and one that is successful. And so I would say, to your question, I have no one in the pipeline currently, but we are encouraging and hopefully spurring people in that direction.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Pastor Apostle Michael Patton, as well as Sister Dominique Granger. We appreciate the both of you. We do have one testimonial from Carla. Carla, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yes.
Good. Okay. I just want to give a testimonial. I worked with Dominique last year, and I've known Dominique, but when I was looking for a venue for my 50th, I first said, what minority, woman, black that can we use? As part of our sorority, we look to support our Black businesses. Mm-hmm. So that was my first. And I met with Dominique, and Dominique is walking her talk. Y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, walking her talk. Because when I met with her, I remember one of the questions she asked me, what's your vision? I said, I don't know, what's yours? I have to say that because, and she knows, but she put it, and she's a busy person. She has event after event after event, but she never makes it seem like she's too busy for you. Because even when I was working with her, she made sure that I had what I was looking for. For those of you that attended, saw her vision come to fruition, but she worked with me, from a Christian perspective. And so what she is telling you is what she does. I so appreciated not only her vision, but just her ability to treat me as if I were her only client at the time, even though I know I wasn't, but I was her only client at that moment. And she continues to do, I think she did some decorations yesterday at an event I attended yesterday. She has an event this evening. So it's just work. And when she says word of mouth, so we try to, but I just want to just tell you about working with, we have a person on the call that, it's actually been in use. And I can even say Dr. Zebo, who's on the phone as well, who did my cake. That was, just word of mouth is so incredible. But I just have to thank Dominique and Apostle Patton. But I've had the pleasure of working with Dominique, and I just wanted to say, she walks her talk. She does it. So just God bless you. And she does it in a Christian way. God has delivered you what you need to be doing. So keep doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to just, I just wanted to interject. I know Ms. Black said that we had the last question, but I wanted to ask a quick question of Ms. Granger. And it's based on something you mentioned about communication. And my eyes kind of lit up when you said that, because I think that communication is so important. So what short words of advice might you give to someone who is contemplating an entrepreneurship venture or is in one now, how they may improve their communication if they find that that is not one of their strengths?
Okay, can you say that one more time? That was a lot. Sorry.
I do that, don't I? How would you suggest that someone increases their communication skills if that is not a strength that they have?
They say the quote is, listen twice as much as you speak. So listening, in the street terms, is put your ear to the street. And a lot of it is even in communicating and like not just putting your ear to the street, but is there this business that they want to do? Is it a problem? Are they creating a solution to a problem? So that will help as well. Like whatever it is that they're starting or they're contemplating starting. Is this a problem? Is there a need for it? Is it somebody already doing that? Can you join wheels with them instead of recreating? Is there and if there's a need, this thing that they're creating, this business they're contemplating, are they creating a solution to what's out there, what's already needed? Because to join this business field is one thing. Anybody can join it, but you have to have what it takes to survive. So the reason that like Tylenol, Advil, Motrin, and Aleve, all of them are because they have what people need. They're all similar. They all sit on the shelf the same. They don't jump out you when you come out the house, but they all have similar qualities, but they all have something different that targets what a person needs. So you have a problem with a snotty nose or a runny nose or a head cold, you can go to Mucinex. So they have a need. It has to be a solution to a need that's out there.
Thank you. Are there any business owners who may have testimony that they may wish to share with the group, that maybe that area or that issue had been touched on by our speakers? Is there anyone? You may unmute yourself and share with us your words of wisdom.
Hi, this is Dr. Zebo, Maureen,
Right?
and I just want to commend both speakers. You did a great job.
Thank
I
you.
want to say that being an entrepreneur, you have to have guts. You have to persevere, and you have to be willing to go with the ups and the downs. And pretty much it touched up on all the different aspects of it. But what makes you survive is the decision to stay in it. Of course, with God's help. And it's almost like a marriage. You have to make a decision to stay in it, because if you can quit if it's a bad day, bad season. And networking is important, connecting with other people and sharing ideas, and always looking to see how you can be better. Some of my tips.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Zebo.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, this is Myra Butts. I just wanted to say it was a very excellent presentation by both speakers, and having been a consultant back in the day in the 90s when we didn't have all this technology and phones and everything. I just want to say the 3 Ps, prayer, patience, and perseverance will get you through all of everything. And what y'all said, I've experienced and didn't learn a lot back then, Michael. That was a very good presentation there. And like I said, and Dominique too, with her events.
Thank you.
So just excellent. I hope everybody gains something and one day may decide they want to be in business. So thank you very much.
Anyone else? Well, thank you so much, everyone. As all things must come to an end, we're at that point. I just wanted to say briefly, again, to thank both Ms. Granger and Mr. Patton for your very enlightening, informative presentations. It came from 2 different angles, and boy, what a big bang, both of them are. I want to let the registrants, the people who are attending, who are small business owners, that we will be issuing certificates. There was a couple of mention about getting certificates, indicating your participation in this workshop symposium today. So you will get that. Additionally, you will get our speakers, you will get some follow-up communication from us. And finally, we would like everyone to complete an evaluation of our workshop today. Our technology group is telling me that I believe the survey is in the chat. Is that correct, Ms. Wilson? That the link should be in the chat. We would like it if you would please indicate once you hit that link, you will get a short survey form, evaluation form. We would ask you to complete that, and it will give you instructions how it can get back to us so that we'll know hopefully what we're doing right and also what we may need to improve. I thank everyone for their time and for joining us today. And I hope that everyone has learned something. I know that I have. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Excellent presentation.